Thank you very much for that kind introduction. As I can see people milling around, it's lunchtime. Some people call this the graveyard shift. So I hope very much that more of you will come to the stage and watch this very interesting panel. As I was kindly introduced, my name is Zulf Hyatt-Khan. I'm the Deputy Chairman at the Council of Slovak Exporters. And I'd like to take this opportunity first and foremost to thank WOF Expo, Thomas and all his team for putting an event together in such short notice and having in-person events again, which I think we've all been robbed of for the last 18 months. It's great to have in-person interaction again. I know this must not have been easy, bringing everyone together from so many different countries, so congratulations once again. Now on to introducing the topic for today's panel discussion, and our esteemed panelists too. Some of you may have already noticed that our panelists are all women, except for me, of course. So in the spirit of our Women in Logistics panel discussion, I would like to introduce you to Dragana, and to Iveta, we were supposed to be joined by a third member, and unfortunately due to technical issues, she won't be joining us today. Such is the nature of COVID. And today's panel will be about the success stories of women in logistics. And these two ladies are absolutely prime examples of what success in logistics looks like. Female empowerment will be one of the key discussion topics today, and both of them extremely successful. I'm sorry I didn't say your surnames, but these names are very difficult for me to pronounce. So thank you very much for joining us today, Iveta.
Yeah, thank you for inviting.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. The first question I'm sure everybody's asking, do you think it's strange or predictable that a man is moderating this panel? Iveta.
Yeah, that's a good question, but in every management literature you could find that the best working is mixed teams or the groups, so I think the exhibitor want to provide a very good panel discussion. So.
And Dragana?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because first time we have the balance where there are 3 girls and 1 man. It's really exciting.
Well, one of the reasons why I chose to do this panel on purpose, and I mentioned I think before, was the fact that I have daughters and I want them to be able to think that it's possible for people to be successful in their careers. And even though there is a man who's hosting this panel, I think you both are very successful examples of women in business. So moving on to the logistics side of things, seeing as we're here at a logistics expo of freight and cargo. Oh, Michaela has joined us.
Hi.
Hi, Michaela.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much.
I don't know what... Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Now we can see the ceiling.
I see myself in the video, but I don't see myself in the screen.
We can see you. Everybody can see you, so that's good. Welcome, Michaela. Michaela's joining us from the Czech Republic. How are you today?
Fine, you?
Good, thanks. So we're going to go straight into the debate and the subject. Oh, we'll start with you, Dragana. You're unique. You are an entrepreneur, CEO. Hubbig is the name of the company that you founded.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the challenges through your career when it came to starting out in logistics, and what it was that prompted you into starting up your own business?
Thank you for a question. I'm not the unique. You know, everyone is the unique for yourself. Actually, I started this journey to be an entrepreneur and to found the Hubbig company 3.5 years ago. Before that, I was working in 2 logistics companies. I was there like more than 10 years, and I found out that something needs to be changed, especially in the case of the digitalizing in logistics and stuff like that. That's the reason I actually found this company, and now we are based in Croatia, in Zagreb, and I hope we will be, moving forward in the other markets soon as we, get bigger and bigger.
And when you started your career, if I can carry on, you mentioned to me a little bit before we started our panel discussion today, you said you found some challenges, especially with men taking women seriously. I mean, this is a theme I'm sure we'll share with all of our panelists.
Actually, I had these challenges, in my ex-companies where as a girl you must do, much bigger thing than the guys need to do to be able to be in the bigger positions. I think that's not only in logistics problem, I think that's in every branch, the problem in automotive or maybe some other branches. And I think that's the reason, I took this challenge and I said, I don't care about that, I'm a woman, it's not that I'm a woman and I'm not the guy. I didn't thought that it is a problem. And 3.5 years later, here I am on the stage.
And thank you for joining us. Iveta, I'll ask you the same question. Do you find that it was a challenge at the beginning of your career, being taken seriously as a woman?
I think yes. For me, at the beginning in my career, it was about earning a respect in that's men's club.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not easy. I could say it's hard, but it's possible, because normally should happen that I'm only one woman in the meeting rooms. We have to understand that women and men has another energy in the meetings, in the communication. We are using another principles. So when we understand, or for me it was more about the understanding of this point, and then we could find the best way for communication, for trying to find the best solution, and then we could start to build the respect. And
so respect is something that we say cannot be bought, it has to be earned. Why did both of you choose a career in logistics? Was it something that you were both passionate about? We'll start with you, Iveta, so you're supposed to.
For me, logistics, it was my previous job before my maternity leave was the Slovak business. And then I want to decide to make a little bit change. And I try to have more time for me, for my family. And then came the offer from the DACHSER. And I remember my first interview with the managing director and the board member in DACHSER, and I feel like a partner in discussions. And for me, this was very important. So for me, it was more about the company culture, like
interesting,
it's a logistic business. So it was something like my first meeting with the real truck. They were so close, cross-dock terminals and etc. And at the beginning, it was like I have to understand the logistics segments and the rule of games.
Exactly.
In logistics, and after that, I think it's a very dynamic business, and I like it. Maybe this is a reason why I still enjoy the logistics segment.
That's great, and I see culture as a very important element of what was driving you. It was the company more than the industry, which is interesting. Dragana, as far as you're concerned, was logistics and freight and cargo an area that you specifically wanted to go into?
Yeah, actually, I was a student and I needed a job. I went to the student center and searched for some job, but I wanted a job near my house. There was actually, I didn't know what that company where I worked after, what they are doing, what is logistics, what is the freight forwarding, I didn't know that. I just picked that company and went there, got the job, student job first, and then I was there for 9 years. And after that, I went to some smaller company for 2 years, and after that, I founded my company.
So it's interesting, we've got one person who chose their business based on culture, the culture of the company, and another one who chose their business just because it was close to their home.
Yeah.
So you kind of say you both kind of tiptoed into logistics and a career this way. But staying with you, Dragana, a moment here, you found a niche. You decided, okay, I've created a future for myself here. What were the processes it took you to decide that you wanted to set up your own business?
It's a long, it's a long trip. I still have the challenges to grow a company. It's been 3.5 years since I founded the company. Actually, now it's right time and place to get on the startup ecosystem. It's getting visible to either younger people and to have the ability to achieve something what they want to do, especially if they have the clue about the digitalizing and logistics needs that needs to have digitalized, and this whole thing about e-commerce, what is going on, and we need to transfer it on the freight forwarding agencies as well. And I think that even I didn't succeed it. I just have I have the main on the end of this journey.
Sure.
I need to succeed, but this journey needs to be my life, and I enjoy it right now.
And I'd like to stay with you a bit, and I'm not sure if Michaela is with us or not, so I'm going to stay with you a bit. You're no longer a startup. Hubbig is no longer a startup. You've passed proof of concept. Oh, you are here, Michaela. Oh, great.
All the time.
I'm sorry, it's just that I can't see your image. I haven't forgotten you. I'll come back to you in a minute. I will stay with you, Dragana, a moment. You're no longer a startup. You're a woman entrepreneur. You went out looking for financing. Maybe there's a message here to encourage fellow women that a woman entrepreneur can do it, number one. And number two, what kind of hurdles did you face as a woman in industry trying to fundraise?
Actually, as I said, it's really a good time and place to achieve, to found the startup. Actually, we are the startup we will be as long as we don't go to the IPO.
Well, we hope you get an IPO.
Yeah, I hope. But actually, it's not a big challenge. It is actually to get the investors. But bigger challenge is to achieve and to get the customers on the spot, on your site, not to go to the traditionals, but go to digital. I think that's more challenging than to get the investor.
Interesting. So you mentioned the end user is your focal point. Satisfying customer needs is the top priority.
Yeah.
But the message that you would like to give to female entrepreneurs who want to go on that journey like you did, just do it? Or what challenges did you face when you were...
Of course, you just, if you know for some problem, you face the problem, and you know the solution, I think it's the right time and place. If here is someone who have the don't have the courage, you can ask me, I will tell you all about it. And I can help with some good advices and stuff like that.
I'm sorry, I'm not picking on you, but this is an area that's particularly interesting to me, because a lot of women in logistics also is about empowering people. You didn't find anyone closing a door in your face just because you're a woman, because your product was so good?
Actually, when I introduced myself, I'm talking that when I founded the Hubbig, my company, I didn't get the closed door. Not even once, because people like the people, especially the women, who have the courage to do something.
Fantastic. And Michaela, if I can bring you in here.
Okay.
Your path, as we spoke a little bit on the phone the other day, you're managing director of Mediterranean Shipping Company. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced along your journey to the top? And did you have the door slammed in your face? Have you always had to fight that much harder to get to the top?
Thank you. So first of all, I'm already 19 years with the company. So I started from the, I would say, zero. I joined the company after the university as an export documentation clerk. I was the worst one from all ever in history, so probably that is why they have started to promote me. Yes, I had some hard days like everyone in this world, and I think we discussed this in the past. I'm not really a big fan of those gender-related discussions. Oh, but it's obviously it is a topic, and my wish is that, as we talked last time, one day we have discussions about the logistic, about the creating new companies like Dragana is doing, or about the business itself like DACHSER is doing, and not to discuss if it is man or woman, and we will discuss the abilities, the skills of the people. And over those 19 years, I can say that I saw a lot of evolution in this industry, not only as the industry, but also evolving the number of the women and the ladies joining and making maybe this industry a little bit more positively emotional, because this is what we can do from time to time. And I'm lucky because I work in the company who has always appreciated the woman and who has always appreciated the people, regardless of their gender or any other specific. So I didn't face that many options. And of course, this is mainly man-related industry. I also had a lot of positive experiences to work with men. So I must also say that it could also work the other way around. And we all use some tools and abilities. So I cannot really complain.
Okay, so I'm 100% agreeing with you. The ideal scenario would be that we don't have a panel discussion like this ever again, and it should just be championing successes. But the reality is, unfortunately, that that's not always the case. And staying with you, Michaela, we spoke about women having it all, about being a mother. And I know you don't want to talk about gender stereotyping, and it should be about the quality of work. And I think everybody in the audience will agree that no one should be based on their roles and their gender-specific roles. It should be about a meritocracy, about how good you are at your job. But the reality is that we all know it's not always the same. But being a mother, isn't that the pathway for being a great manager? And do people realize that?
I think being a mother is a challenge itself. At least for me, from time to time, I have two lovely daughters whom I really love, but sometimes I struggle, and I think the woman and the man in the room knows this feeling from their own. But yes, to combine the family and the business is a difficult part for anyone, I believe. But we as mothers, of course, we take it more serious. We have closer connections with the kids, especially when they are little. And in my case, I'm running out of time. That's all. And sometimes out of patience, to be very frank, but this is not the mistake of logistics, but mine, my temper. But yes, to manage the family, to manage the work, for me is very important that I have time for my family, for my kids. That's a real challenge. And I fear the only solution is, first of all, the companies to become a little bit more mature and understand that it's not about the hours you spend in the office, but it's about the quality of the work you are delivering. At the same time, you as a woman, most likely for the certain moment of your life, have to forget your me time. At least limit it quite a lot. At the same time, I'm quite convinced, and I know so many successful and working women who change the world to positive way. Really, I'm happy to have them around me. I have them here in the office, and they are doing so great, much better than me. And if you can manage your family, in a proper way, then you are the manager, because this is the biggest proof. And then you can do any job, regardless if it is logistic or whatever. As long as you manage your family, it starts with the time management, with the prioritization, with the focus time, then the logistic is easy one.
Absolutely, and I think exactly what you mentioned there. It's a managerial role being a mum. Your F&B manager, your entertainment manager, your transport manager, your finance manager, your household manager. So you've got so many different hats as a mother. And Michaela, I'd love to think that we don't have to talk about positive discrimination and quotas in companies, but I'll bring that up again. Iveta, I wanted to bring you in here. I noticed you at DACHSER promote and develop young talent and act as a mentor to young women. Is this something that all three of you, I'll start with you, is this something that all three of you are very keen on, mentoring young women who are either going into the world of freight and logistics or just even in business? And how do you do it at your company?
Yeah. I start with the environment of our company. in our company we have the program, it's a talent management and succession planning program, and via this program we support the young talents. Doesn't matter if it's man or woman, but of course we try to bring the same opportunity for the women and also for the men. And it means that we have to time to listen, not only this manpower, let's say, but also the women voice, what they want to say. And due to the reason that I also support a lot of other women's, let's say, some startups or something like that, I see in our company also other young women which want to do something, or maybe they are dreaming about some manager positions. So I try to support them and let's say maybe give them some mentoring, how was my way, my path, how difficulties I have, and so on. And that's the company. And outside the company, I am part also of other groups where are the students or the managers start on the starting positions, managers, and we have normally the meetings and discussing the topics, which kind of problem they have, and it's I think the kind of problems almost the same at the beginning of career for the women. So it's more about the giving advice and what I think, what I could do in this situation. So in this way.
Thank you. And Dragana, the same question to you. It's your own business, so do you have a mentorship model in mind? Is it something you do? You bring in women and think you can do this? I need you to be a part of my company.
Well, that's the good question, because as a leader, as a CEO, I want to have the best employees in the world. I want them to be better than me. So that's right. I mentor them as well as I know, and that's the reason I actually have in my own company there are more women than men.
Fabulous.
The men are usually a guy who is doing the software, and the women are doing the sales, marketing, and logistics and stuff like that. It's not that I'm more for the women. I think it's good to have this balance, and I'm not seeking for this only girl power. It's not like that, but we need to mentor these young girls to let them to achieve themselves and to speak aloud what they want. It's Hubbig is a startup. We have discussions. I have my own challenges, and I want to discuss with my own people. I want to them to face them with the problems, and I want them to find the solutions.
So and Michaela, I'll ask you the same question. And in your corporate culture, do you have it inbuilt that there is a mentorship model for women who have aspirations to become management, or is this something that you have to develop yourself and you think, right, there is potential here, I'm going to nurture this talent and I'm going to show them that it's possible 19 years later to become managing director?
Well, first of all, we have a coaching program, we have education program in the company. I mean, being the shipping line, a huge player in the market, you have to do this. But again, we have it for everyone who has a potential, who has a willingness, regardless of the gender. Here, I believe that the leader is not necessarily the MD, is not necessarily the team leader or manager. The leader is the one who is influencing positively people around him. I was very lucky during my career to meet many people who were my mentors, who were so kind to share their experience and their knowledge and their feelings with me, many men as well, many women as well. What I do believe is lead by example. So if you treat the people, if you treat yourself, if you treat your team with a certain attitude, it will show. And of course, in each team, you have some people who have more potential, some of them who are maybe more capable to do other things, or they are very happy in their role. but still you can lead them. So still you can mentor them, still you can challenge them in a good way, and in some cases it's simply better to push them a little bit more to get them out of their comfort zone to grow. But the only thing I really try to focus with the lady colleagues, and we are actually, I just checked, we are 50-50, women and men, and it happened just accidentally. Same counts with the management roles. We have 50-50 more or less, 49-51. But what I think is important, and this is something I'm lacking in Czech and in Slovakia as well, as I'm responsible for Bratislava office as well, we do not positively encourage, and we do not boost the self-esteem of not the young women. They have them. Thanks God, the world has changed. But the one who are fresh mothers, or the one who would like to be mothers, or the one who has little kids, because that's the most difficult period in the life of women, of the family, but also in the career. And somehow, this is something I'm lacking in the Czech and Slovakia. We have the special environment with a long paternity leave, but we don't really promote special conditions for women. We don't really make them believe that they can do both family and work. We don't really treat them sometimes same way like we should, or maybe even better, to understand that they are caring for a certain period much more than the others do. And this is something where I see a big room for improvement, especially within our two countries, because the many women just do not dare to come back and ask for more in their career, in their position, just because they have a little family, because also the people look at them like, okay, you have small kids, they might be sick, so it will be difficult, and maybe you plan another one. And that's the difficult part. And this is something which starts with us, women, to work on this and to show to the world that this is not the way, and also to encourage the woman, go, have your family, this is the most important thing in your life, and you will still make your career, as long as, if you wish.
I see you got a gift from Zoom. I hope you opened it. But I wanted to stay with you. What would you do to encourage that change? You mentioned that I think it's an obligation from both sides. The mothers and the people with new children should be actively seeking employment, but at the same time, companies should be saying, we're open to hiring mothers and bringing mothers back into the workforce. I know there's a company in the UAE and in Singapore called Hopscotch that hires only women who've had children and reintegrates them back into the workforce. And it's crazy to think in 2021 we're saying reintegrate women who've had children into the workforce. But there's an active need for change. How would you like to see that change, Michaela? And what should companies do to make sure that these jobs are available for women who have children, or women and families?
Okay, first of all, under the COVID situation, I think most of the companies went through dramatic change. So now we have learned that we can work from home, that we can have a combination of the office and mobile work. So this is the first biggest change. I would not necessarily say it was due to the industry, it just came through with the COVID as a side effect, one of the few positive effects. So this is the first thing, to define if it is really necessary to be all the time in the office. But as you said, this is not the one-way street. It's not just the company. It also, the behavior is lacking also from the women society, because many of them just do not want to return. Many of them just do like the so-called comfort and the position they do have. So again, it's not one-way street, but what I think and what we do, definitely we are hiring back all the women who wants to come back after maternity, paternity leave, whatever leave. This is the first thing. We never cut them unless they are willing. I think we are quite flexible with flexi time, not to the extent that, I mean, we are operational companies, so we have to be available. If you want to provide customer service, you have to be available, and the clients are very demanding, especially in Slovakia, so you really have to be present. But you can give them those tools to handle the family and the job. You can also tell them that it's right to stop to work at a certain hour and look after the family. And you have to find them the right job. Maybe the one they did before was not the right one, but you have to give them an option to do something else. Something different, even if it means that you have to train them again, or you have to again work on their self-esteem that they can do so. So there are several programs. MSC is well known as a company who is offering several positions. You can work within the organization of the agency, for example, in many roles, but you can also grow vertically, and you can change to some other daughter and sister companies within MSCs. So there is plenty of choices, and as long as you are passionate person who wish to work, then you will find your position in the company. And this is something I think is important, that at the momentum, the needs of the person does not fit to the position, doesn't mean there is no other, or there is no other way. It's all about dialogue, compromises, and it works. The investment to people is always paying back.
I think you're right. Dialogue, communication, compromise. I think those are three critical points that you mentioned. One area that I know will irritate Michaela, but I'm going to talk about it anyway, is a little bit about positive discrimination and quotas. Dasha, what would you say the percentage of women to men is? Is it 50-50 like MSC, or is it more men?
It's 60-40 because, you know, we have also cross-dock terminals. It's mainly the male business, so because it's a hard work, but in administrative it's 50-50. So from this point of view, I really couldn't say that I saw some, let's say, for advantages or something like that, because it's really very open situation, and due to the fact that the teams are mixed, I think we are able to create a positive energy for the working, because everyone knows that to have only the women's teams, it's not very healthy.
Absolutely.
So when we have a combination, then the teams have a good dynamic, and it's okay. For example, I have the finance department. We are the only women on the department, so I made a bigger offices, and I also connect them with the facility department in one part, just to bring a little bit male energy into the team, and then they have a little bit much fun in the work, and it's much better according to me.
So, Dragana, I know you have the luxury of choosing your employees, and everybody in your company is hired based on their ability to deliver on what they've promised, and that at least should be the case. And Michaela talked about meritocracy. People should be hired on their ability to do the job. But thinking outside Hubbig for a bit, do you think we still need these quotas in larger companies? Do you still think that positive discrimination in some respect is actually a useful thing, just so that we bring the level playing field a little bit closer? Or would you like to see it completely, okay, if we have 80% of the company that's men and 20% that's women, that's fine, as long as those people are doing the jobs for the best reasons?
You know, everyone, how to say it, I can you know, choose the best employee, but sometimes I choose the wrong, and yeah,
we've all done that.
Yeah, and it's a matter of time when we have to, you know, choose to, you know, either it will be, you know, position for a man or for a woman. I think we don't need to generalize it. Yeah, it should be the balance, you know, it should be 50-50, but there are a lot of women in the world than men, basically.
There are more women in the world than men,
yeah.
And that's a fact.
And that's the fact.
Certainly feels like that in my house too.
Yeah, in my company too. Actually, but I think there is not the right answer on your question, and in my position, I think what I have learned in my company is to delegate. I found that I more delegate, and it is more successful if I delegate to the girl than to the man. That's the fact.
Wow.
So I don't know if there is you know, stuff like in Michelle's or in Ivet's company, but
I'll bring Michaela in here. It's about bottom line. We talk about margins, we talk about profitability, and I read a statistic the other day that women drive the bottom line harder than men based on competence and KPIs. And those are words that everybody likes to talk about in PowerPoint presentations. But in terms of tangible return on investment and results, Would you say, Michaela, that women are more effective in management? Number one. And number two, do you think they're undervalued on a salary scale? Do women ask for the same amount of money as men? And should they?
Okay, not easy one. I start with the second one, because this is unfortunately still the case. If we have to be frank, it is the case. If I say again, for my company where I work for, I'm definitely against this, and as long as I'm in charge, which is, well, I don't know, more than 10 years, it is not the case. But I cannot talk for the whole logistics sector, and still today we have the comments also from the people in mid-age or younger who have the comment, okay, but he is the man from the family, you know, he's the father of the family, he has to earn more. No, he's good, he will get the money. He's not good, he will not get the money. If she is good, regardless of the age of the family, she should be paid same. But true is, do we as a woman, do we as little ladies, and do we raise our kids to be capable to ask for what they deserve? So I think this is the issue again, which is the problem for women, starting from women, because the way how we raise our daughters is probably the way how they will ask for their rights, including the salary, because they should be paid equally. That's simply like that. Yeah. Regardless of any other factor. And this is still not a habit. It has changed a lot, it has improved a lot, and this is probably maybe the only way where I do agree with sort of positive discrimination, that there is sort of watchdog. And of course, if the socially or state-owned companies have this rule, at least please, there is someone, because they are hiring a big amount of the people and they are, have on their payroll a big amount of people, please have a look at that. Put some standards in it. And if the woman is doing better job, she should get some extra, but same counts for men. So here I think there is still room to get better, to grow, and it starts with us. How do we raise, it starts with you, how you raise your daughters. Make sure they can ask equal things like the men. Starting in kindergarten, continuing in the job.
I couldn't agree with you more. And Iveta, I'm going to ask you, and I'll ask you, Dragana, when you're raising money, I'll come to you in a minute. But when you terms of your salary, is there a stumbling block for? And Michaela mentioned it. Do you feel embarrassed asking for a higher amount of money? Has there been traditionally a history of people suddenly saying, "Oh no, I shouldn't get paid as much as this man because he's a man"? Do you have any fear about going to ask for SC peniaze?
Ask for peniaze, yeah, that's the question. I think it depends really about
the management.
Yeah, on the management and about the company culture, which is there. At the beginning of my career, I think that I wasn't so self-confident, for example, as now. So I was, okay, should I ask? It maybe they will want, oh, it's too much because you are a woman and the man is better or something like that. But it's the way of the leadership and the development of also myself. And now I don't have these problems to discuss. Also, when I bring this question in my teams, I didn't do the differences between women's and men's salaries or something like that. It's like a job, and it's important if you are able to do the job, if you have a right competence for the job, and if yes, then
you should be rewarded exactly the same as a man.
Exactly.
100% agreed. Dragana, fundraising is a completely different level of kettle of fish entirely. When you're out there asking for money, did you ever for an instant think, maybe they're not going to take me seriously, maybe I should ask for less? Or you were so convinced in your product you had no issue going for funding?
You must know, neither one will, just go to you and give you the money. You
100%.
Must ask. You must ask, and you should ask. I've been asking my previous companies where I was working, and it was always no, later on, next year, and stuff like that. And that's the reason. That's one of the reasons I quit the job and start my company. And it's really it was the challenging, but I get good fundraising. I get good salary now. I have the employees who work for me, and the last I choose them. So it's the winning.
And I want to stay with you, Dragana, for a bit, because female entrepreneurship is something that's also undervalued. There are lots of opportunities in the digital space, in the innovation, in the freight and logistics environment, as we can see all through today. In terms of female entrepreneurship, do you think there's a reluctance or a fear, maybe, that women can't be successful because the tradition has always favored men? And if you had a message of encouragement for female entrepreneurs, what would that be?
Yes, of course. There is sorry, something. There is a fear. I have the fear every day, you know, but
That's not because you're a woman, that's because of the business.
It's because of the business. I think either I'm the guy, I would be, you know, in the fear to go forward and to push harder. So that's, you must beat that fear, and you must, you know, close some doors where something is bad happening, and because the new doors will open for you, and you'll get the new chance to win.
And what would your message of encouragement be to prospective female entrepreneurs out there who might be afraid because it's been a male-dominated environment for so long?
I would, you know, repeat, now it's the right time and place to you know, face the fear, and if you have a good solution for the logistics or something something else, I think it's the best time to face that fear, to find the funding, and to go on the stage and talk about your solutions and get the users and get the money.
So in the immortal words of Nike, just do it, yeah, is the motto. I've got a few questions left, and then we will drop off and we will all leave you. One of the things that occurred to me, and this is more of an emotional question, is do you find, Iveta, that men are intimidated by successful women? And that power dynamic?
Yeah. I think that lots of things depend on the personality of women. When in the meeting room come the women with self-confidence, which know own ideas and discuss with men with respect, but still with own ideas, and yes, I know why I'm talking, not because I'm a woman, I want it because I know the reason and everything. So then you gain the respect from the men. And of course, to be honest, say that in every meetings it works that every man is like, yeah, I will be speak because you are a woman, and it is, you know, still we have the, let's say, the patriarchal society, and it's for women it's hard to earn this respect. But once when we earn this respect, I think that we are a very good partner for cooperation in management, for example, or in decision making.
I'm intimidated by Michaela, but I'm going to ask you the same question. I'm living proof that I'm a man that's intimidated by a woman. So Michaela, I'm going to ask you, do you think that men are intimidated by successful women?
I think the men are intimidated by success in general, regardless if it is women or men, because this is what drives you. This is your driving factor. So if there is anyone successful next to you, I mean, it starts in the kindergarten with this pissing contest. So come on, this is a general rule. So I don't think it's that much by the woman, but most likely I assume it's difficult for them to handle the successful woman. It's more difficult for them to handle because it's a different gender. Maybe the same counts for us. It's a bit difficult for us to handle successful men properly. So it's more, in my opinion, the nature of the man.
So I guess it goes both ways. I want to give you a little quote here. An article in Forbes magazine mentioned that according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, there are now 109,000 more women working than men in the United States. So that's proof that domination is happening. You mentioned that statistically there are more women than men anyway, so you'd hope that that would match. But at the same time, these women are still going to get jobs, and more females in top management than ever before. So I'm going to give you another statistic. Last year, that a study of more than 21,000 public companies in 91 countries by the Peterson think tank and Ernst & Young, found that bringing more women into higher management boosted profitability. So the proof is in the pudding, Michaela. More women, better the bottom line. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. More women means more successful people. So, and I mean, it's always good to have them. I'm not definitely against us. So yeah, I agree. And I can see it also here when we have the right mixture, the results are growing. Maybe also this little competition between all of us makes us a little bit better. And yes, there are certain qualities the women can bring and the men do not have them. And this is probably completing the complete puzzle and the picture to be more successful.
I think you're 100% right. Competitiveness is raising the bar. People are having to perform higher to maintain that level of standard and to keep your jobs. So guys, I would just like to conclude our lively discussion by extending a big thank you to all our expert panelists, Iveta, Dragana and Michaela. And Michaela, thank you for joining us from the Czech Republic. And I hope you enjoyed the debate as much as I have. And I'd like to leave you all with one final quote. And it's almost ironic that it's a man that's leaving you with this quote. In order to be irreplaceable, one must always be different. And that's what Coco Chanel said. So I'd like to thank you all for joining us here today. We didn't have any questions on Slido, so thank you very much for joining us here today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.